Before that. My mistake. What did you think, like, honest opinion of what English class was before this assignment was announced?
Okay, well, I never really liked English class because there was a lot of formal writing, and so that kind of scared me. You just feel like you'd be constricted, and it just made it harder to write.
Well, we were asked to go to an old folks' residence and get their stories and demonstrate it to them.
On stage, and us as actors, we just have to portray it basically.
Well, each particular group, or I guess like chorus and monologue and person, has their own person to act out as the story was told.
Well, my story is about a guy named Jules, and his dad was an alcoholic, and his dad died, and then he became an alcoholic.
I play as Don, who met a girl, and he fell in love with her the night he met her, and he walked 20 miles to go see her again, and then years later they end up getting married.
My character is Bob from the story of Arlene, the Mr. Confident guy, come out, ask a girl on a date. I'm in a wheelchair because, well, can't really walk, so I guess I'm in a wheelchair. What was the other question?
I'm sure Ms. Reed already went over this, but I just went over it with my students. Make sure you do introduce yourself to the person that you'll be talking to, and that means, hello, my name is, and there's another person attached to my hand. There we go. And then at the end you would thank them for sharing their story.
At first, I was actually pretty scared because we were going to go talk to these people, and I'd feel pretty weird if I had to tell my very emotional stories to someone. But we got this amazing lady who already wrote the story down, and so she just read her story that she sent to the Chicken Soup, and so it was really easy to break down and make a memoir out of it.
Our Lady was a lot about talking about stuff that happened when she was like on the farm and stuff.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
We'll give that to Miss McDowell, see what she can do with that on stage. What else?
My lady she has a son who has ADD, and they found out that his pills were laced with cocaine, and then he was addicted to cocaine, and now he's schizophrenic.
Wow. So did she focus a lot of her story about like sort of the topic of mental illness and dealing with
Kind
that?
of, because there's a lot in her family.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you're going to have to, I guess, pick and choose kind of in telling what you believe to be interesting things. So now you're going to have to sit through that and figure out what you're going to tell. What story are you going to tell? How are you going to tell it? Time periods, really important. In other words, the person may have said when I was 20, but you need to know when were they 20, right? Like at what, are we talking the 50s, 60s, 70s? How does that work? And the other piece is that the thing that really changes it from just a biography to a memoir, which is that significance piece, right? What kind of an impact did it have on them? what is the lasting effect, and start to flesh out your story. We need to have a memoir written to the best of our abilities by Thursday. Okay, Thursday I need to have hard copies in hand of this person's story, but that is the time that we have allotted.
I want my story to be chosen, so I'm going to try my best and see what I can turn the story into, and all the detail and all the feelings and stuff. And I just really want to see it on stage, and I can't wait to have this person encounter seeing them on stage and their story being told to the world. I wouldn't try as hard if it was just like we meet this lady, we write a story, and the story's done and we hand it in. But the cool part of the assignment is we're writing a story and then we're putting it on stage as well as we're showing this to the lady who we talked to. So I guess if I don't try hard and I get this bad story, she's going to feel bad about it, I'm going to feel bad about it. The teacher's pretty much pushing us to our limits and just giving us that little push, and so we're trying as hard as we possibly can.
It's just a new experience and a way to, for actors, it's a new way to look at things, because it's you're portraying an actual real person instead of just someone who's just written in a book, a fictional character. This is a real person that you're playing. It was actually a lot more difficult because the difference between a real character and a fictional character is a fictional character, you can just portray them almost any way that you feel is right, but a real character or a real person, you have to look at all their body language, everything, in order to just make sure that you're portraying them right, because when they see it, so then they can just look at you and say, oh, that's me on stage. So it's a lot more difficult.
And it's the idea that in life, everyone has a moment or a few moments that makes them who they become. And so we're trying to get students in particular to interview seniors to find out what those moments are, and then the English students will write the memoir, the drama students will turn it into a script, and then a production will happen in an anthology style. Socially, just the idea of crossing the generations. And people tend to dismiss teenagers, people tend to dismiss senior citizens. So if we can take those two components and those two ages and bring them together, and then have a respect between the two, that was the social component. Educationally, all of a sudden, learning becomes real. These are real people's stories, so students tend to want to do better because it's no longer the teacher that's judging them or evaluating them or assessing them. It's now the actual person who lived this story. And so it takes on a whole different element than let's read a book, let's answer questions, which is certainly important, but now you're taking an application view of it and saying, okay, take all of that learning, apply it to a real life situation. Know that you're eventually going to be putting this on stage, and everybody wants to do well. The teachers want to do well, the students want to do well, the seniors want to do well, and it becomes much more of an authentic learning experience than being in four walls in a classroom.